minutes. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning and welcome to Saratoga today for Sunday, July 20th, right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with good friend and co-host Pete Viscos. We're going to be tackling a very, very challenging late pick 5 here today, Sunday at the Spa. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Follow us at HHH Racing Pod on X. Great tip sheet information. Look below the video player for that as well. And Del Mar only power picks are available. In fact, Pete, as we have a special link, top right-hand corner right now, top right-hand corner, that green QR code to above Pete's left shoulder there on the top right-hand part of the screen. Please check that out. If you just go ahead and use your phone, iPad, anything, camera, go ahead and point at that. You'll get that little yellow tab that'll show up on your screen. Click that. That'll take you to our Del Mar only power picks, which basically the information is on our website. So you just go to our website right there. I'll leave that on for just a little bit here so people can go ahead and check that out. Noah Maher, by the way, Pete, getting off to a great start with his Del Mar power pick tip sheet with several good scores. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm good. How about you? Happy Sunday morning.
Absolutely. Doing great. Very exciting day yesterday. I do want to touch on yesterday at the end of the show because there's some huge races, as you well know, especially at Monmouth and Saratoga. So we'll spend just a few minutes at the end of the show talking about that. But very exciting day. I don't know how you felt about this late pick 5, Pete. Excuse me, a little hoarse from yesterday's shows. But I thought this was a very challenging late pick 5 sequence and a lot of fun too at Saratoga today.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, it starts off with what looks like it could be a chalky race, but then from there, I think the races are wide. I thought the whole car, because I did the power picks and,
Right.
and thanks Terry, I saw in the chat that he'd be riding the Visco power picks today. So
All right.
good luck with that today. But I thought the whole day was pretty tough. So I think we're in hopefully for some decent payouts today, which would be lovely if we can get them.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris.
We don't know any degenerates here. I don't know what you're talking about. These are sharp handicappers. The degenerate seems a bit negative, but yeah, we hear you, Chris. Not to disagree. Katie's here. Look, Tom Espinoza up nice and early at before 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Thanks, Tom, for joining the show. Katie is here. Yep, Terry is here. Chris is here. What's up, Justin Sampson from Equinedge? How you doing, Justin? Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate it. Saying hello to his fam. James is here from the West Coast people showing up early and showing out. Really do appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in now. First, because Paul's not here, I know you don't mind as much, but it's got to be mentioned. The weather looks like it's going to be really good early part of the card. I looked very carefully at the weather today. I'll go ahead and take the QR code off there now, the screen. Let me go and do that and put our wonderful faces up there. By the way, I love that logo. When I first got that logo, I'm like, that is really cool. That is the winner right there for sure.
It is. The only thing I don't like about it is we should have switched the outfits for me and Paul, because you couldn't catch me dead in a tie. Paul actually dresses up sometimes. That's the only knock. Otherwise, it's fantastic. And now I have more of a gray. I wear more of a beard. So we just needs a little touch up. But it's a wonderful, fantastic. I forget. We had that done a long time ago, and whoever, I don't know the name of the folks who did it, but
I outsourced. Basically, I had choices of like 10 or 12 different ones, and that by far was the winner. I didn't know you well enough to know that you never wore a tie.
No, it just made me laugh when I saw, because we do see Paul with his, when you see Paul at the track, he's dolled up with his tie on and sometimes his blazer. So
for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, weather's gonna be fine. If you don't want to worry about the weather, ladies and gentlemen, bet the early part of the card. Now, it doesn't look that bad. There's basically a front coming through. It looks like, of course, right before the pick 5, but somewhere between 4:30 and 5. Sorry, between about half an hour before the pick 5 starts, there's a chance of strong storms. Now there will be weather in the Saratoga area, Albany, upstate New York area for sure today. The question is, they're more like pop-up storms, and will it pop up over Saratoga? So if it does, I don't know what they're going to do, Pete, because I know what they're going to do. They're going to run, but they took a bunch of MTOs out of these races already.
Yeah.
So if we get really unlucky and get one of those thunderstorms that's heavy and lasts a while, it's going to be very small fields, and I probably won't even play the pick 5. However, it looks like that's a small chance of that, ladies and gentlemen. They might not get any rain at all. If they do get rain, it looks like it's passing through pretty quickly. So anyway, we have to talk about it because it could totally change these races, but I think we're going to be okay today. Woodbine, by the way, has major stakes. Weekend Warriors later today. Our first Sunday edition. Kyle's going to be hosting. I will be on with some other people. 3:30 Eastern, including our boy Shards will be running. I haven't seen scratches at Woodbine. They actually did get some rain last night, but I'm sure they'll be on the turf. And if they're not on the turf, Shards can certainly run on synthetic, and actually might even be better on synthetic. So anyway, Shards will be running later today. Check out Weekend Warriors for sure. All right, Pete, let's jump in. Here we go. Let me go to the banners. We're going to start with race 6. The late pick 5 today at Saratoga is going to be a doozy. And as I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here and get it up. Here's the Equibase. Here we go. And boom, right there. Race 6, 4:02 Eastern, allowance race, mile and 16th on the turf. Rails are out 12 feet. This is on the melon on the outer. We see some scratches already. The 2 is out. The 1 is out. Excuse me. The Cumberland Blues, which is a main track only, is out. And I believe, hey, Toby, the 11 and the 9. The 9 and 11 are main track onlys, if I remember correctly. So it's basically a 7-horse field, if I got that correct. I'm going 427. Pete, you're going 257. You're going to chalk out with Ms. Tertonic for Carrie Brian and Flava Flav.
Yeah, not super interesting to kick this off, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, this horse just kind of makes sense. Had the nice, came back as a 6-year-old, still, 6 years old, but still lightly raced. So came into 2025 with only 7 races, came back at optional claiming 50, gets a nice win, 2 back, a little bit of an off track, then backs it up with a nice run in the allowance 81. You get Pratt from Castellano. The horse has a win over Saratoga, broke the maiden last year at Saratoga, which is always nice to see. You see 5 for 6 from the distance. It just seems like a pretty logical horse. Again, the problem with it, there's not a ton of early speed in the race. So this horse doesn't break very well and generally is sitting in the back. So again, if you have a big favorite or a somewhat big favorite that is a closer, that's always, especially when they're not like great horses, that's always a bit of a shaky proposition. So that would be my only concern, would be if this horse has too much to do, which you see doesn't always win, but always runs a nice race and generally kicks on late.
Yep, should get a good trip from the inside. I was ready to say I would single this horse and be all over this horse. But I'll tell you what, Pete. I want to give a shout out, and we've done it a bunch of times already, or I have specifically, to Craig Milkowski and the Timeform people. Timeform has changed the way I bet, and it's changed the way I pick horses. And in general, I would say it's absolutely helped. I used to be mainly a buyer guy and buyer guy only, and there's nothing wrong with buyer figs. But I was not doing my job when I was only looking mainly at one fig. I'm not really a sheets guy or a rags guy, to be very honest. Again, there's nothing wrong with those either, but Timeform definitely can vary from buyers. And when I looked at the Timeform here with the number 2, Ms. Tertonic, compared to others, and I'll show everyone, certainly solid 105, 103, 106, right? But when you look at some other ones here, like the 4 ran a 103 last time. The 5, who could be the favorite or one of the co-favorites, is slow right now, Pete. Now,
right
slow.
Now, yeah.
We're talking 5 or 6 points. I'm looking at my sheet here. That's a few lengths slower. The 5 has to improve to win this race.
Can I make one point here? Oh, go ahead.
Sure. Hold on. Let me just finish this. Let me finish. Based on Timeform, Pete, the 7 is the fastest horse in this race.
Yeah.
Based on Timeform. If you believe in Timeform, And the 8's not that far behind, but much slower on the Beyer. So look, I'm not saying time form is always better than Beyer, but it is something to consider. We talk about a lot on the show. Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just going to say with the 5 you talked about there, the hard thing sometimes with the figures though is that horse ran a 91, 98 time form in his first 2 races, whereas you look at the other horses, they did not. They were a lot lower in their earlier
True.
races. So it's hard to because it's almost like saying to a basketball player where it's like, hey, coming out of college, this person reminds me of Steph Curry, and they're like, oh, he can't be Steph Curry. Steph Curry is one of the greatest. You're like, I'm not talking about now Steph Curry. I'm talking
Right.
about out of college. So you have to compare it based on sort of where they were in their career. Same thing with the horse, which I think that's the struggle. And like a horse like the 5, you say, okay, is that where he's going to land and end up? Or do you think there's a forward move, which is what you said? He needs to improve. Will he do that? Because it's only his 3rd race. So,
right. We're playing the stock
that's
market, everyone.
yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much it.
With
Yeah.
these young, not with stake horses much, but with these younger horses, you have to take some guesses. I mean, again, if I didn't, I'll move on here, but if I didn't look at time form and Handy was having him this race 10 years ago, I'd have the 5 on top in this race. I know I would have. So I'm like, oh, look, he's already running 70, 74.
Yeah.
But and he might win this race. And I have him in the mix, obviously. I'm as a strong B here. But, I might even use him on my main, as an A, as a 4th A, but I don't like to do that many A's. I just want to point that out. People can make some decisions, at home. I'm going to go with 4 out of Waterbury. And my main thought here is twofold. Number one, Sai is going to have this horse in a perfect spot in theory outside of the speed. And there's not a lot of speed in this race. And number 2, he ran that number coming off only off a week layoff for David Donk, or 8 days, and ran that fig. And then I looked at the race a little more particularly, and my boy Barnstorming won for me earlier this week at 22-1, which helped Patrick and I hit a pick 5. And American Grant also came back and won. So this was not your just run-of-the-mill, 35 non-winners at 2 claimer. I think that race was just as good, if not better, actually, than this race today. So I'm going to take a little bit of shot at the 4. He's got to run well and get the right trip. I don't see why either one of those things are not possible. I think the 2 and the 5 are going to be over bet. So not an overly strong opinion, trying to be a little bit cheeky. I've got the 7 in the mix, Charles J, for IRAD. I don't know if the pace is going to set up, but IRAD always seems to find a way. You've got that 1 and 3rd.
Yeah, I think with this one, it's sort of similar. You're actually looking at it similar to the similar to the 2, where you're hoping there's not going to be a ton of pace. This one's going to be closing, and you wonder if the 2 is just a better closer. So does some of these races we have to look at and we say, if I pick one horse, does that horse just cover the other one? And it's similar to your 4. Like your 4 has run against Mr. Tronic 3 times and gotten kind of whooped. But again, there's different things when it comes to race flow and where the horse will be sitting, which I think you're hoping this horse is improving and will be closer in a race with not a lot of speed. But it's hard to weigh that sometimes. It's like, well, do I need the 4 because I have the 2? Do I need the 7 because I have the 2? I mean, that's the decisions we have to make most of the time. And it's not like we know the answer until, unfortunately, after the race happens, then we know what the real answer is.
I mean, you're going to have to make a decision because this sequence is tough, and you laid it out well in your Power Pick tip sheet as well. But, of course, folks can receive our Saratoga-only Power Pick tip sheet. Actually, that's already closed, so sorry for people that can't get that anymore. But I'm sure Pete will touch on that a little bit as we talk about this show. I mean, if you want to just go 2-5 here, I totally get it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's that simple. I guess it depends on what your ticket's going to be going forward. Let's go ahead and on to the next race, Pete. Race 7 is a hard-knocking, claiming 40s, really nice group of 40 claimers. We have some scratches. The number 2, Tis Quantum, is out. The 11, Gasoline, who is a main track only, is out. They did keep the 10 and 12 in as main track onlys. It's another field of 8. And I thought there's a lot of ways you can go here. And obviously, look at this. I'm going 4-1-6, and Pete is going 5-7-6. Interestingly enough, you don't have the 1 who's 5-2 morning line as the favorite anywhere, and I'm a little bit suspect of the number 1, Belluni. I think the conversation should probably start there, but let's start with our top choices. You're going to go with the Ontario bred Title Forces for Fernando Abreu and Irad.
Yeah, I can say I'll lead off with this. This is the race I don't. There's always a race in the sequence you don't really have a feel for, and you're not too confident. This is the one. I think if I could, in this race on a pick 5 ticket, depending on how the other races shake out, I would go about 6 deep here just to be covered because I'm not super confident in this one. Title Forces, a few things. Getting back, what I think I like too is I think the last race cut back to 5.5. And I just don't think that's his game. So I like getting back to the route here. So I'm looking at a horse that did something last time. So maybe the last race doesn't come back as well. But if you look at the 2 turf routes before that, very nice races. I think if we can get back to that, at least this horse will be more comfortable there. I think that race 3 back wins this race, or at least puts in the mix to win. You're switching to IRAD, which again, sometimes will hurt the price. But if you're looking at it from who rode this horse the last 4, obviously I would take IRAD over them. I think this horse is better sitting just off, and I think should sit a stalking trip here. Has been able to get on the lead in some races, but I don't think that's his best game. So I think the trip should work out. I had Abreu with a jockey change to IRAD. This isn't very surprising. He's 23%. If you change to IRAD, you're going to probably be better than not. And then even from the last race where this horse didn't run that well, there was one next out runner that came back, was a next out winner with a 92 buyer. So only was 2 lengths out of that race. And that race, maybe he'll come back better than it looks on paper.
I didn't know what to do with this horse. I ended up putting him as a C. I think he's going to take too much money because of IRAD.
That's fair.
I hear you. The 3 back race wins this race.
I think so. Yeah, that was
a very good race. The problem is after that he lost at 40 cents to the dollar with no excuses. And then I'm not sure he's a sprinter, but he was 24-1 in that race. I don't know. I'm going to use him. I totally get it, Pete.
Hey, like I said,
it's a wide open race.
I'm throwing my hands up, man. I'm throwing.
He's just not for me. By the way, please put in the chat. We got great comments in the chat. Please put it in the chat. Katie mentioned Miguel, who had a big day at Clemont, a big day not only at Saratoga, but at Monmouth as well. So Miguel Clemont doing a great job after the passing of his father. Couldn't be more happy for him. Again, soft pick, ladies and gentlemen. Summer and Adrian, like the name, by the way, or Adrian. I'm not usually a fan of horses that come off a big fig, but boy, that Keeneland race was really good. I know he was 46-1, but Pete, it's not as if he has races on the go back that can't win. This is Maker for Flavian. Doesn't ride Flavian often. I don't mind the rest, and I also like the fact he's been working very steadily. Does the race need to fall apart? Perhaps. I think there's enough release speed in here. I just didn't feel like I wanted to go with a low price in this race, and I sort of felt like I landed on this one. You can see the time form's got the 4 not as far back as it might look on paper. So if that's true, I would like the 4 even more. Again, wide open race. I'm going to take a shot at the 4. Let's talk about Belluni for a second, who I have in second. You have absolutely nowhere, and I totally get it, Pete. You go back to his races last year, Belluni's a winner, for sure.
Yeah.
For Chad and Dub. I mean, he was facing, Northern Invader and, the major dude who, by the way, that was your top choice yesterday. Actually ran pretty well. I think finished 3rd in the United Nations. But ran pretty well 2 back, right? I mean, won the race with an 85 and then was just absolutely awful in the cliffhanger. Now, I looked at the works real carefully, Pete. He wasn't working great before the cliffhanger and sort of, steadily, but not quick. Since then, Chad is like, you know what? I can't be embarrassed again. And not only the work steady, but they are relatively quicker. So something might have happened, and this one just might roll, and we could be completely wrong here. I mean, I've got him second. I don't like though that he's in for 40. That to me, he's only a 5-year-old.
I knew you would say that because I know that you always, you're better at thinking about that than I am sometimes. But
Pete, he's won over 200,000. He's only 5. It's not like he's 8. I mean, he doesn't have good races in him, and they're just saying forget it. I mean, I know Dub and Madacat, they got monsters, but I don't know. Coming off a horrible effort and now in for 40, gives me the heebie-jeebies. So You felt the same. I mean, you don't have him anywhere
I know. And
in the top three.
It's probably the fourth horse, I would say. So it was right out of it. His best races, coincidentally, I mean, best. He's had some good ones going 8.5. His best races are 8 furlongs and down, which again, this isn't that much longer, so it's not like it's crazy. But that was enough for me to say, I thought it was weird being in for the tag. Also, dropping sort of this far down. I mean, like you said, even coming back this year, even the race 2 back was still an optional claiming 100. Now we're going all the way down to 40. That's just and maybe that's the drop. Maybe it's like a confidence builder again, but 2 back just 1. So it's not like this horse has been running bad consecutively. So I don't know. It's just a weird one for me. Maybe the horse rolls. Manny Franco, by the way, he hasn't exactly been lighting up the tote board this meet either. So it's not like it's a Pratt or, a Pratt or an Irad on top of this horse. So I don't know. I think it's just that 5-2 is a little questionable, but yeah, maybe he just comes out of it and just buries the field, and that wouldn't be all that surprising either.
The way you feel about the 1 is the way I feel about the 7, Johnny's Fireball. I mean, tons of back class, right?
Yep.
Didn't run very well last time, and now dropping in for 40 as a 7-year-old. I think they realize that this horse's career is not going to be the same as it used to be, and they're just up for sale. Does that mean Johnny's Fireball can't win? No, I've bet this horse before and won and lost with him. It's more the vibe with the 1 and the 7. Again, they can obviously win. You like the 7 more than I do.
It's funny. I don't. I didn't like the 7 that much either. I probably. I'm looking at the same thing you did, where if this horse runs to back races, definitely is in the mix. But I think that's the same we talked about with the 1. So it's like, well, who's going to do it? If they both do it, then probably they run 1-2 and it chalks out. So who the hell knows? But like I said, I could probably go about 5, 6 deep here because I'm just not comfortable with anyone.
Chris Mack, I didn't know this. How about this, Pete? Anyone ever see a Breeze 4 furlong workout sub 45? My boy, my namesake, Howard Wallowitz, I'm assuming that's on the turf, by the way. 44 and 1 bullet this morning? Whoa. Now,
wow.
Chris, let me say this. First of all, that's ridiculous fast. I'm not even sure the connections want him to go that fast. The turf is very firm right now at Saratoga. It hasn't rained since I was there, of course, last weekend, really. So I think they got a smidgen of rain like Thursday late afternoon. But when that turf gets firm, it gets firm, especially on the Oklahoma, which I don't know if you've been to or seen, Pete. But anyway, Thanks for that information, Chris Mack. Wide open race. We need to move on, guys. But again, another tough race there, race 7, the 40 claimer. Let's go on to the next race as I go ahead and switch some things around here. We're just going to go down to race 8. Starter optional claiming. Now we're on the dirt for the next 2, 50,000. These are for 3-year-old fillies, restricted. We have scratches of the 5. Let me go full screen. Another cliche, great name, but she's out. Moongate would have shown speed, is out. It's now a field of 7. Let's see where we're going here. I'm going 9-4-2, and Pete's going 2-4-7. Geez, Eloise for Linda and Lascano. 9-2, Pete. What do you think here?
Yeah, I kind of like this horse a bit here, and not to foreshadow the power picks a bit, but geez, Eloise may have made an appearance on there. I thought so. A few things. This horse is probably going to be closing into, again, projected hot pace, or at least projected enough pace to close into, whereas this horse has been getting really slow to moderate paces most of the time. Like you see that last one was very slow and was just sort of spinning the wheels a bit because they were just ahead of him and ahead of her, apologies. And there was nothing to be done there. And I think this one, if we can get what time form projects a little bit more of a pace, I think that's really going to help this horse. It's a second race under Linda Rice. So, now we're going to get, and hopefully we get some pace. We get her second out, which is an angle I don't mind. I thought 2 back, this horse shot a little too high, went from claiming 35, gets the win. They shoot up to optional claiming 200. Yeah. I was like, maybe that was just a little bit too ambitious there. Now we're getting back to what I think is probably a more reasonable level. So I kind of just like that. And then we're also cutting back to the sprint. So we're getting back to the sprint. We're getting back to a reasonable level. And hopefully we're getting some pace. And it's the second in the rice barn from a low percentage trainer. All of that makes me think that we're going to get at least this horse's best race potentially. And if we do that, I think it puts she's right in the mix.
I almost put her on top, Pete. I looked at her very carefully. I like your pick a lot. Two minor concerns. One is the class. I'm not sure she's the classy some others, number one.
Yep.
And number two, will she be too far back? Those are my two concerns. But other than those two concerns, I think she's very alive. I don't think we're getting 9-2, by the way. I think she's 7-2, maybe 3-1. I think she's going to take money because of the Linda Lascano angle. But I like that pick, Pete. I think you made some excellent points. G's Eloise, definitely a factor. I'm thinking a little bit similarly as you two. I'm going with Mel for Mel Giddings here.
Same concern I had with this one was
maybe she's too far back. Yeah. I'm not worried about the class level though. She's faced some really nice horses in her last three. 2 and 3 back looked a little slow, but I mean, she was facing really nice horses. I think this is more her level, and I like Chris Elliott. I like Flying P Stable, by the way, at Saratoga. And I think she's flying a little bit under the radar. We'll see. I will mention that Mel is 0 for 2 on wet, and the 2 looks like would be better on wet. So if it does come up wet, you might want to upgrade the 2 and downgrade the 9. Although, Pete, Mel, those were her first 2 starts when she ran in the slop. She's obviously a much better animal now. So, I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt. But I do like the outside post. I think she's more tactical than the 2 and will be closer. I'm going to go a little bit of a price here. I think the horse to beat, as long as the pace is not crazy, is the number 4, the Prince Factor for Sharp and Jose Ortiz. Joe Sharp's look at this, 5 for 10 at Saratoga. This was, I think, before yesterday, but he won the meet at Churchill. Joe Sharp is on a roll right now. This horse is fast, and if she breaks, I think she's the one to catch and the one to beat. At 4-1. These odds are going to change though with the 5 and 6 scratching, especially the 6. You like the 4 also, and then you got the 7 in the mix.
I think you have to like the 4. No, sorry, I was just going to say I think you have to kind of like the 4. The only issue was there could be some other speed in here, so I don't think we'll get the same kind of lead as the last one, and we'll have to see how she runs under those conditions. That was the only thing. Joe Sharp or Jose Ortiz combo, 33% win, 62 in the money in dirt sprints. So those two hooking up is always nice. But the reason I didn't have her on top was more of the pace scenario. And even with Mel's a funny horse. Tons of quick workouts for a horse that generally comes from the back. Good. But when I looked at it, I was like, well, they're no quicker than prior. Like the last couple weren't any necessarily better than prior ones, and hasn't shown that speed on the track. So I thought she was sort of an anomaly, which is why I didn't know what to do with her. But yeah, I think the Princess Factor, it's still tough going maiden special weight into up to this company, up to, optional claiming, up to allowance company. So we'll see how she handles it.
It is, but I think she might have the class for it. Volta Market to make the lead, according to Rob. And what's up, Rob? Thanks for joining the show. I think it's the kind of field, Pete, that she can handle, though. With the
I agree. No, I agree. Yeah, it's not a super strong field. No.
I agree. I just noticed. Look, if I stand, look, just if I stop right here, look at this, Pete. The HHH is perfectly in the spot between the.
Oh, look at that!
On my shirt. Look at that. Doesn't that work nicely? But
that almost,
if I move, it's got
looks like yeah.
All right. People are like, Howard's off the rails. The 9 is a little bit of a morning glory, which some of us are and some of us perhaps are not. Boy, a lot of people love this blue hat. I'll tell you what, Ed Burke, we're going to have another sale, Pete. It's going to happen probably not till
yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait till the spring, most likely, Ed. Usually we do a little sale in the spring, but appreciate that. A lot of people love the blue colored hat. We'll have many choices for you, Ed, to choose from come springtime, unless maybe we'll do it for the holidays this year, Pete. Maybe we'll do it around November.
I think that's the move. Get some Christmas. Then people who follow the show can give the link to their spouses or significant others or family members, so they don't even have to pay. They can get them for free. So that's even better.
Now we're talking. Honorable Miss Pete, grade 2. This is the big race of the day. 6 furlongs, $200,000. fillies and mares, there is a big name in here, a big name. Number 4 is Scylla, dropping down. I know it sounds silly, but dropping down to a grade 2. I don't forget this 2-1. Scylla's going to be 7-5 in this race for Mott and Rosario. At least I think she'll be. Are we both going to go with the presumed heavy favorite Scylla? How about
No.
neither of us? How about that? We got the same three-peat, but in different order. I'm going 9-4-2, and you're going to go 2-4-9. Safi Joseph, Jose Ortiz, a very fast in-form filly who made her name at first in South Florida, now bringing her game up to the premier meet of the summer. Sorry, Del Mar people, but it's Saratoga. But Del Mar is 1A. I'll give them shout out for sure. Our disaster for Safi and Jose from the inside for the upset, Pete.
Yes, this could be another one to foreshadow the picks, but we shall see.
What are you just putting two? Just two on every? Is every race at 2 today?
Just twos. I'm going the Matt Miller tournament route of just twos all across the board. Which by the way, I always curse those people when I'm in those tournaments. So screw him and his twos all across the board because I always hate when the winner does that.
By the way, almost 400 people watching live throughout the country and world. Thank you very much for that. Pete, go ahead. Our disaster.
Yeah, I'm going with there's other speed in this race, but I'm going with the idea of potentially speed of the speed or a horse who doesn't necessarily have to be on the lead. And if someone else goes inside, then Jose, who's been riding fantastic, can sit just off. So I like the fact that this horse isn't so reliant on being on the lead that it's a necessity, but can get the lead and can be the speed of the speed if that's the way the race shapes out. Like you said, this horse is just super in form. The works are showing that it's still in form. Now, again, I think this is much tougher competition, but even the losses 2 and 3 back, Nick Style, Hall and Ice, those are good horses. Beat Leslie's Rose. There wasn't running. It's not like this horse is coming out of some super low level stakes races or allowance races. At least this has faced some tough ones. And now we're getting back to the 6 furlongs. This horse is 4 for 4 at 6. So it's one of those where when the horse wins, you go, holy crap, this horse just wins whenever she's at 6. And when they stretch her out a bit, she has a little bit more trouble. Safi, 2 for 25 in graded stakes races at Saratoga. So I'm always reticent playing him, but both wins were dirt sprints, including this race last year. So Safi did win this race last year. So out of those 2 for 25, he's done it with dirt sprinters. So I'm looking at maybe that alleviates my Safi at Saratoga hesitancy, which I normally have.
Nice horse. I understand it. She can win. I know last time, Pete, she did rate a little bit. That was a much weaker field, and she got an 89. I think she needs to be on the lead. Now,
I mean, I want her just to win on the lead. Just
if I'm Jose, you just send like a banshee.
Go. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to disagree that she needs the lead, but I think she does need the lead in this type of race, in the higher class races, and this is her toughest test ever, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if she can rate and finish against these types. So I think if you're a fan of Our Disaster, she needs to get to the lead. One of the keys of the race is IRAD on the 1. Now it's IRAD and Jose next to each other, but complete different connections. It's not like IRAD cares. I mean, he probably wants to beat Jose even more. IRAD has to go from the inside. I don't know if IRAD's quick enough to stay with the 2, but if the 1 like outbreaks the 2 just like slightly, when I say outbreaks, like the first like jump, the 1 has to go. There's other speed in here. Whoops, wait a minute here. Hold on a second. Okay, I was going to say, I know the 4 is not out. I mean, Carmelina is not good enough, but she's fast, and it's Saez. What's the little prankster going to go with Junior? Junior's not going to go. I mean, he's got to be up close. Striker has dial, is very quick, although blue-coated figs. I disagree. Benedetta's also, not slow, but probably a little bit off. I disagree with the time form early pace figs that it says it's not going to be fast. This has to be fast in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's my thought. I was just, I think but again, sometimes they don't go and we think they're going to go. I think if the 1 goes, I think the 2 could sit off the 1 I don't think the one is so good that the two can't sit off and pounce on the one. But if they both go, and then, like you said, those other horses come from the outside and also get in that, then it's a problem. So
Here's
I'm
my
hoping
problem.
that's what
Right.
doesn't happen. Yeah.
If there wasn't more outside speed, I'd like Our Disaster even more. But the fact
Yeah.
that she might get caught up with an inside speed duel and then have others coming down on her, I think is going to be a problem.
That's
Now
the concern. Yep.
we're not Karnak. We don't know what's going to happen here. We don't have a crystal ball, but too many variables for me. Anyway, Jody's Pride. Been a fan of this horse ever since she lost to Just FYI. I think she's rounding back into form. She's always been pretty good, Pete. She's been going longer. This is Jorge Abreu. I think she sets a very good trip here with Flavien. I think Flavien's going to let the speed go. I don't think she has to be that far back. She's definitely got the class. And if you're concerned about her being too far back, Pete, and maybe not a sprinter, look, her first two starts of her career, she was sprinting and won by 10 and 3.5. And I know that was a while ago. I have a hard time believing that Jorge Abreu and Flavien Prat do not have this horse cranked up and ready to win a 6-furlong race. She's been working very well. She's going to sit a great trip. If it comes up wet, that's not a problem. I think she'll be able to finish better than it looks on paper based on all the inside speed. I like Jody's Pride quite a bit here in this race. We have to talk about Scylla, and then we'll talk about the last race. I've always liked her. Maybe she's just been over her head now. She's got the figs, are clearly the best here. She's faced complete monsters and Copian and Ways and Means and Sullivan Angel and geez, she's supposed to win this race. Pete, why don't we trust her?
I'm just thinking maybe the 6 furlongs is a little sharper than she's used to. That's one thing. Yeah, it's hard to know. So she doesn't win these races, but is she supposed to win these races? Probably not when you look at who she was facing. So do you hold that against her? Probably not. Maybe you shouldn't. Rosario, can this horse sit a little too far back with Rosario? Maybe. Tulane vibes. I like it. Maybe this horse is sitting a little bit too far back with Rosario. But again, if the pace heats up, then that should play right into this horse's hands.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of super logical reasons to not like this horse, but I think there's just a few nitpicks that you can make that say, like you said, what do you think you said at the beginning, what do you think Scylla's going to be? Odds
right.
when they get in the gate. What do you think she'll be?
I think she's 7-5.
7-5, right? So at 7-5,
yeah.
Do you love her? At 7-5, I don't know. I don't think she's unbeatable by any stretch, and I don't know if she should be 7-5. But if she rolls by this field, would you be shocked? Obviously not. She's so classy, but I feel like she's one of those favorites that you could beat. So in a sequence like this, you're trying, or you're at least hoping to beat the horse. So like, would you have her as an A on a?
Yeah, I'm not, as we like to say on this show, we're not stupid.
We're not stupid, yeah. Like,
Here's
I don't
how
think
I feel,
she's
Pete.
that beat of a favorite. Yeah, she's not like a bad favorite by any stretch.
No, not in my opinion. Here's how I feel, and people don't see my grids because I don't tip out anything, publicly today. I'm mainly going 4-9, Pete. If it's not 4 or 9,
yeah,
I'm just going to lose this race probably. I'm going to use Our Disaster as a backup with a few others, but I'm going to sort of chalk out in this race a little bit. I just think I won't say cheap speed, but for the level, cheaper speed, and if Our Disaster wins and therefore knocks me out, so be it. But I am going to have her. It depends on what happens in the other races. I'm mainly 4-9 here, Pete.
Makes sense.
My main Jody's Pride would be my pick. I think of the pick 5. We're not going to show our best bets, by the way, Pete, for time, and we don't usually do it on the morning shows here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. You can mention who you like as your best bets later here at the end, but Jody's Pride for me might be my play of the sequence. Just hoping to beat Scylla. So let's go to the last race, Pete, and then we got to quickly talk about yesterday a little bit as well. Allowance race is the closing leg, 5.5 furlongs. Of course, it's a turf sprint. Thanks, NYRA. Love the turf sprint on the last. Rails out of 12. We got scratches of the 2 and 3. These are New York breds. Again, all the main track onlys are out except the 13. So if it happens to come off the turf, I'm expecting a very small field here. The Moyline favorite is You Gotta Have Hope for Horatio de Paz and Santana. Shout out to Santana, who's really riding well, including on the turf. He's really stepping up his game right now. I'm happy for him. You are going to go, I'm going 5. Look at this. I'm going 5-8-3. You're going 3-1-4. I mean, as if the other races weren't tough enough. This is a complete cluster. You're going to just add water, but not from the sky, the horse.
No, yeah, we don't want to add water to the track for
No.
this race. That's what we don't want to happen. I like this horse quite a bit, actually. As again, this may be something that someone, if they bought the power picks, would have seen in yellow potentially, if they know what that means. So I like this horse quite a bit. You're talking about a $220,000 purchase off a $15,000 stud fee. But a couple of things I like in that last race, gets the win at this distance at the 5.5 at Saratoga. So I like that. I like the run and the nice run over this course and this distance. Had a nice work back too. So came one angle I love, and this is one of my favorite things to look at, is when a horse is working well, goes into a race, wins, sort of runs like sort of their top race, and then comes out of it and they're working strong again. I really like that. I just like that the horse is maybe holding their form, and it feels like that's what this horse is doing. So even though we're getting the move up out of maiden special weight into the allowance company here, I think this horse is holding form, and we're going to see another improvement. That's my favorite angle. And then one other thing. So Chad Summers, he's only 2 for 26 with a maiden winner last out. But in his last 4 times that's happened, he's got 2 wins and a place. So even though he started having problems with that, maybe it has something to do with he's figured out that he was maybe, I don't know, misspotting his horses or misplacing them in the company after they broke the maiden. And maybe now he's getting a better feel for it. I mean, I'm not a trainer. I don't know what decisions go into that, but he seems to be getting better at that. So that, again, it was a way to alleviate sort of a statistic that is maybe the trainer's doing something they're not great at. But I just really like this horse, and I think we're going to get a big move forward. And that's it. I think it's going to get a good trip, too. I like the fact that can sit off, didn't break the maiden like on the lead, like so many times that happens where you need to be on the front. This one could sit off, patient. I think Lescano can just sit and pounce with this horse.
Yeah, I think this horse, she's got a big shot. Sounds like a single for you maybe in this pick 5, Pete, on the end, and pray. She can definitely win. I think it's a pretty competitive field, though. I don't think it's that simple.
That's the problem. Yeah.
You got to have hope, the number 5, who's 2-1 here, in the morning favorite. Ran races last year as a 2-year-old, Pete, that would beat these horses, and that's when she was 2.
Yep.
She came back, not a great effort. However, it was off the turf. This is a turf horse, and I think she's going to bounce back big time. I do like it's a pretty strong feeling. I do like you got to have hope. I'm definitely using your horse. A horse I want to throw out for everyone to end the show here. This is another spot. This would be a spot play for me. Number 8, Tariga. Now, I know she's got 13 starts. I know she's a 5-year-old. This horse is fast, Pete, and she's in really good form. And if you look at this race really carefully, there's not a lot of inside speed, unless you think the 3 is going to dead send, which I don't think the 3 is going to lead.
No.
The inside horses don't have a lot of speed. Castellano should sit a great trip from the outside and might even be able to clear. And I love outside speed in races that don't have a lot of speed because Castellano can break, look to his left, make a decision. She's 8-1, probably more like 5-1. She's the informed speed of this race. And if the break works out correctly, and again, we don't know, do not sleep on number 8, Tariga, in this spot. A horse that normally I wouldn't love because she's older and 5, but she's in really good form, Pete. And we know these turf sprints sometimes end up becoming merry-go-round races. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. They end up becoming merry-go-round races, and if the 8 gets the setup, I think she's very dangerous here, very dangerous. So I'm a little bit interested in Tariga. You've got the 1 and 4 who we're not going to have time to show, but those are both closers, Pete.
Yeah, closers.
Those are closers that can win if the race falls apart, right?
Basically, yep, that was it. No need to get into more on those.
Before we end the show here, Pete, I do want to get your quick impressions because you were not on our Weekend Warrior show yesterday. Just have 2 horses, snapshot, talk about the Haskell, and then book him Dano if you could.
Yeah, the Haskell. So, I liked Gosker in the Haskell, and I thought Gosker ran a bang-up race, but I just thought journalism. I mentioned this in our little group chat, but I just thought, I know journalism didn't break well, but I thought that benefited him. He just sort of stayed out of all the fray. He didn't get mixed up in anything. He was able to get to the outside, get a clear run. Like Gosker and goal-oriented tussled down the lane a bit, so that might have taken a little starch out of him. I thought everything worked out perfect for journalism. When I was watching it, I saw Gosker make the move, and I was like, oh, he might get it. But then journalism was right on he was like not too far behind him, and I was like, yeah, but can he hold him off? I mean, I think journalism is a fantastic animal. I think his biggest problem is he's a horse who comes off the pace, and the other horse in his division comes off the pace better than he does. And I think that's his problem. I mean, generally, if you're going to beat your rival, maybe one is speed and one is a closer, or one sits off, and you could outbreak them, you could outspeed them. But this horse is always trying to do something that his main rival just maybe does better. And that's tough long term. This field on paper, I like Gosker and Golorian. I know you like Golorian.
He ran big too, by the way. He came back on Gosker and almost beat him. I mean,
he did.
Yeah.
But Gosker fought back, which I was impressed by. But again, this isn't the greatest field potentially. It's a good field, but it's not great. So I think what did you think? I don't know. I didn't see I wasn't around yesterday, so I didn't see the show. What did you think of journalism overall?
I thought he was more workmanlike in this race, but boy, is he game. I mean, he's just. I mean,
he likes to
an
get
athlete,
to the wire.
He loves to win. Yeah. It's really. I still had a feeling he was going to go by at some point. I wanted him to go by because I played a big 2-8 exacta in the Monmouth contest and got my heart ripped out of my throat there. But we talked about also, Pete. We're gonna end the show. I don't want to go too long, but. I think journalism should stay on the West Coast. And no, he's not. We wouldn't be dodging sovereignty.
See, I disagree. We know that.
I know he hasn't been dodging anyone, Pete, all year long. I just think they'd be better off staying at home. Getting a race over Del Mar. If the Breeders' Cup was not at Del Mar, I would say if he's ready, go back East Coast and face journalism again. But the fact that the Breeders' Cup is at Del Mar, I think anyone reasonably cannot give journalism and their connections crap for not running the Travers. But anyway, that we'll have more discussion next week. How about your Jersey boy, Bookham Dano, who is in absolutely fantastic form right now?
He was awesome. I mean, he was probably, I assume, without thinking too hard about it, he seemed to be the most impressive horse that I saw. There's just the races that I watched yesterday. He was awesome.
Don't tell it to Scottish Lassie, by the way.
You know what? I missed that. I didn't rewatch that one yet. I missed that race. So I saw
she won by a pole.
I saw that she won by 1,000, but I didn't watch it. So I didn't know if that was just one of those weird races because it was the field came up short. But in terms of beating, in terms of how they ran, I thought Bookham Dano generally just does enough to win and sort of squeaks by, and you're always a little. You're always left maybe wanting even a little bit more in Bookham Dano, even in his wins. But I thought yesterday, man, he was just powerful and strong, and he looked fantastic. And he seems to have come back better and seems to just be getting better, which is super impressive. And I didn't see any figures or anything yet from yesterday. So
it's got to be mid 100s. I mean,
it's got to be
high 100s maybe. And I liked Mulligan, who had no real excuses. He ran a big race. They went 108 and 4 on a track that I didn't think was super fast. So anyway, fun day. We got a fun day today also. Not only Saratoga, again, Weekend Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, our live show. It's a half an hour earlier, 3:30 Eastern. We're going to show we're going to audio for Saratoga races, video for a lot of really good races at Woodbine, Pete. There's several stake races. It is their King's Plate preview day, including Shards running later today. So check us out live, ladies and gentlemen. Please tell everyone, and we'll show the beginning of Del Mar. Or we'll do audio for the beginning of Del Mar also. So really exciting Weekend Warriors show today, starting at 3:30 Eastern until about 6 o'clock Eastern. No reason to watch the British Open because Sky Shuffler is a complete animal. He's going to win that by 8. So there's really no
Scottish
reason.
Lassie. He's going to Scottish Lassie that race, basically.
Yeah. I mean, he's there's no reason to watch the Open Championship because Scotty Scheffler is going to win. So plus it'll be pretty much over by then. Anyway, Pete, great job as always. Appreciate it. For my co-host Pete Visco, this has been your host Howard Kravitz. It's been Saratoga today for Sunday, July 20th. Only one other thing to say other than watch Weekend Warriors later today, and that is to crush your bets at Saratoga this afternoon. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.